Well, here we are in the final couple weeks of the 2018-19 WHL regular season with the Calgary Hitmen here, and things keep looking up here. And if you watch till the end of my game segments here, I got some exciting news here to share with you. So anyway, it's time for another episode of Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome to, I now call this a special 4-game edition of my Calgary Hitmen in 4 here. We're up to episode 12 here on recapping how things have been going in the 2018-19 WHL regular season here. And when I was mapping out my episodes and my plan here for recapping the season here, I thought, well, they played 72 games and 6, works out to be 72, but then they realized that they cut the season down to 68 games, and then ultimately I decided with my 6-game segments, that leave me with 8 more games left to go in the regular season, so I decided to do 4 shorter episodes instead of 1 longer 8-game episode. And if you also follow along with my Calgary Flames recaps, 6-game segments get me up to 78 games, and then I need to do a 4-game segment for the Calgary Flames to wrap up that season, plus hopefully playoffs. And that's why you also saw that different intro. So, here we are in the final 8 games of the regular season here, and this episode we're going to look at games 61 to 64, hence only the 4-game segment here. And, the Calgary Hitmen, considering where we started, when I started this whole thing, this team is looking really strong and has really strung together a couple wins here, and you'll have to say that we might be a force to reckon with, early in the playoffs here. So anyway, let's pull out my notes here, and we did actually sweep this 4-game segment here, and got some couple thrilling wins and a couple expected wins here when you look at the schedule here and who I'm matched up here. So once I bring up my notes here, and as I say, if you watch till the end here, I got some exciting news to share with you about the Calgary Hitmen. So let's go back to Friday, March the 1st. This was game 61. We were taking on the Brandon Wheat Kings at the Scotiabank Saddledome 7 p.m. puck drop. This was definitely a big game for both teams, and also if you look back at my last couple episodes here, and if you look at the standings here, the Lethbridge Hurricanes and the Medicine Hat Tigers and the Red Deer Rebels here, but more Medicine Hat and Red Deer were also concerned with this game because they're in the thick of jockey for position and wildcard spots, and as things tightened up as going down the stretch here, a lot more 3-point games happen, and in this case, this was a 3-point game here because we needed more than 60 minutes to decide it. But how I'd summarize this game is that it was a frustrating start for the Calgary Hitmen, but had a thrilling finish with the overtime winner here, as there was no scoring in the first period here between Calgary and Brandon here, but the Calgary Hitmen did pepper the Wheat Kings 20-4 just in the first period alone here. And then James Mound did score the first goal past the 3.5-minute mark of the first period there, so I'll say, hey, we finally busted one here. But if you go look at the summary here, the Brandon Wheat Kings had goals by Connor Gutenberg at the 8-minute mark and Caden Daly at the 14-minute mark, so it was 2-1 Brandon after 2 periods here, despite the Calgary Hitmen outplaying and outshotting the Wheat Kings here early. And then Mark Kastelic scored his 44th goal of the season on the power play at about the 8-minute mark to tie it up in the third period here. And then it stayed 2-2 until we went to overtime. And then Riley Stotts, who you'll be hearing his name a lot here, you've been hearing his name a lot more recently, scored at about 2-minute mark in the overtime to give Calgary the huge win to stay pace in the Central Division race and climb up the standings here with the I said the 3-2 overtime win here. And Calgary Hitmen overall outshot the Brandon Wheat Kings 42-21, so a 2-1 margin here. So hats off to Yuri Petter, who had the strong game for the Wheat Kings. He made 39 saves in the loss in their end, the overtime loss, so at least they got a point there. And then Jack Manhattan only needed 19 for the save for the Calgary Hitmen there. So it was definitely a hard-fought victory for the Calgary Hitmen to start off this 4-game segment here. So game 62 happened the next night on Saturday, March the 2nd. The Calgary Hitmen, for the very last time, are off to Cranbrook to take on the Kootenay Ice at the Western Financial Place. 7 p.m. puck drop here, as you know, as reported last month here, that the Kootenay Ice franchise is going to be moving to Winnipeg, Manitoba, starting next year here. So this is the last time that the Hitmen are in the Kootenays in Cranbrook here. And how this one went for the Calgary Hitmen here, it went pretty well there, as they did score first after 8 minutes in the period there. But then the Ice tied it up a minute and a half later, and then Hitmen and Ice traded goals again in the first period there, so it was 2-2 after one period there, and then eventually the Calgary Hitmen scored one early in the second period here to make it 3-2, and then ultimately put it away in the third period with a goal in the second half of the third period, and then an empty netter there for the 5-2 victory for their last ever visit to Cranbrook. So it was 5-2 for the Calgary Hitmen, who led the way for our boys junior team here. James Mellon with the hat trick with 3 goals, another guy that's really been turned on lately, and that puts him up to 31 goals on the season as of this point. Josh Prokop and Mark Kaslik were the other goal scorers for the Calgary Hitmen. And then let's also recognize Lane Toder, Igor Zamula, Riley Stotts, and Carson Fook. Each all chipped in with 2 assists here for the Calgary Hitmen. And the Hitmen overall outshot the Ice 31-26 here. To look at the Ice side of the puck here, Marco Krita and Brad Grinnell each had a goal and assist for the Ice there. So I said Jack Manhattan, 24 saves to win. Then Curtis Migger made 26 saves for the Ice there. So Calgary had a successful last ever visit to Cranbrook there. I mean, the Kootenay Ice aren't going to make the playoffs here, so we definitely need to take advantage of the opponent here. So game 63, Sunday, March the 3rd. The Calgary Hitmen take on the Kootenay Ice once again for the final time. But this time at the Scotiabank Saddledome. It was a 4 p.m. puck drop here, so this would be the last time Hitmen and Ice will face each other. I mean, definitely had a huge rival, these guys, because actually this franchise started off as the Edmonton Ice, and then they moved to Cranbrook there, and we've had some battles there. The Ice franchise actually won the Memorial Cup in 2002 there, and, you know, dwindling attendance there, the market lost interest in the team there, and eventually got sold to Winnipeg. So Winnipeg will be entering back in the Western Hockey League for the first time in almost 40 years here. So after saying this is the last time we play the Ice here, the Calgary Hitmen offensive muscle definitely proved to be the difference here, as the Hitmen scored 2 goals in each period there to make it 6, and Kootenay Ice only had 2 overall. So the Calgary Hitmen definitely won a convincing one here, 6-2 here. The Ice did barely outshoot the Calgary Hitmen 38-37 this one, but I'll footnote this one that the Hitmen also took twice as many penalties in this game, so the Ice had a lot more power play time, which is definitely a factor here. So who led the way for the Calgary Hitmen here? Well, Carson Fook had the hat trick there with 3 goals, and Josh Prokop scored 2, so that 5 goals came by Carson Fook with the hat trick and Josh Prokop. Ryder Korzak was the other one that scored for the Hitmen, plus he chipped in with an assist here. Dakota Krabs, Mark Kaslik, and Luke Coleman also each chipped in with 2 assists there for the Hitmen. And no one had a multi-point game for the Ice, if I look at the Kootenay side of the puck here. But both teams used their second goalie in this game. Karl Stankowski was in for the Hitmen here, and he stopped 36 ice shots. Well, Jesse Metcalf for the Ice was in for all 6 goals, but he still stopped 31 shots for the Ice there. So that's it for the Kootenay Ice against the Calgary Hitmen here, because there's no more games on the schedule here, and the Ice aren't going to make the playoffs here. So that was Game 63. Game 64 here to end up this 4-game segment here before we get to other business here and announce some good news here for the Calgary Hitmen. This happened, Game 64 happened on Wednesday, March the 6th. This was at the Canalta Center at 7 p.m. puck drop to take on the Medicine Hat Tigers on the road here, and let's just say it was an offensive thriller here in this one. Calgary Hitmen started off very strong here, scored 4 goals in the first period alone. Carson Folk, he already had his hat trick. He scored 3 goals in first period, including one with 1 second left in the first period there. So it was 4-1 Calgary Hitmen here, and it looked like, oh, we're going to cruise to a win here. But the Medicine Hat Tigers, they roared back. Pun intended. They did roar back big time in this game, as they scored 2 in the second period to make it a 4-3 game. And then the Medicine Hat Tigers actually completed the comeback and took a lead with 2 more goals, so they were up 5-4. So the Tigers were down 4-1 out of the first period, and then in the third period, the Medicine Hat Tigers took a 5-4 lead here. It wasn't until James Malm for the Calgary Hitmen scored with just under 4 minutes to go to tie it up at 5 there, and that's where it was after 3 periods there. It was a 5-5 game. Overtime was needed, so another 3-point game, which sometimes gets frustrating when you follow the playoff races here. But after a very intense overtime period here, as there was no shots until Vladislav Yeremenko at the 3:41 minute mark of overtime there, made the shot and scored for the Hitmen for the 6-5 win. So, I mean, the Calgary Hitmen, they have won 6 in a row here, sweep this 4-game segment here, and I think I saw that they were 8-1-1 the last 10 games here. So, the Calgary Hitmen are definitely very hot here right now and peaking at the right time here. So, who stood up for the Calgary Hitmen? Well, as I mentioned, Carson Folk had 3 goals to the hat-trick plus an assist. James Malm, he had 2 goals and assists for this one. And then Igor Zamula and Caden Elder each chipped in with 2 assists for the Hitmen. If we look at the Medicine Hat Tigers side of the puck here, Ryan Jane had 2 goals and assist. Trevor Longo, goal and 2 assists. And Ryan Shikowski had a goal and assist to lead the way for the Tigers here. And the Tigers actually, I guess one of their efforts to roar back here, actually outshot the Calgary Hitmen 42-30 this one. So when it comes to goaltending here, Jack Naughton made 37 saves for the Calgary Hitmen. He actually, as a rookie, he's leading all rookie goaltenders with 25 wins here. I mean, he didn't start off as the starting goalie for the Calgary Hitmen, but he's definitely taken the job and literally ran with it. For the Tigers side of the puck, well, Mads Sogard, he did start the game for the Tigers there. He allowed 4 goals, 13 shots, so he made 9 saves. So he was chased after the first period. Jordan Howlett, he made 15 saves in relief there, but fortunately he gets credited with the loss because he was in for the overtime goal there, so he gets credited with the loss for this one. But so the Calgary Hitmen has had swept this 4-game segment here. Now let's get to the good news here. So with the combination of the Calgary Hitmen winning with the Medicine Hat Tigers last night, and the Brandon Wheat Kings losing to the Lethbridge Hurricanes here, the Calgary Hitmen have clinched the playoff spot. So for the 20th time in 24 seasons, the Calgary Hitmen will be making the playoffs here. Last year they did not make the playoffs, and they were actually the 3rd worst team in the league here. And the last time that the Calgary Hitmen made the playoffs was in 2017, and they got swept in the first round by the Regina Pats there. Just like the Flames, they got swept in the first round, and that was also the last time the Flames made the playoffs. I'm pretty sure the Calgary Flames, the way they're going, will make the playoffs this year. But the Regina Pats actually were the top team in the Eastern Conference that year, and the Calgary Hitmen was the second wild card year. So we're in the playoffs, but we still don't know positioning yet. So let's take a look at some player stats and standings here. So from the Calgary Hitmen here, I mean, there's a tie for leading this team in scoring and points here, because both Mark Kastelic and James Malm here have 75 points each. Mark Kastelic's leading the team in goals with 45, and but James Malm is leading the team in assists with 42. James Malm also has 33 goals, and then Carson Fook has 26 goals, and Kay Neller has 27 goals, and then Riley Stotts, if he gets one more goal, he'll join the 20-goal club for the Calgary Hitmen here. Actually, excuse me, who leads this team in assists is actually Igor Zamola with 45. He's definitely the quarterback on the power play there. So that's just a quick player summary. I mean, Jack Renaud has 25 wins, 12 losses, 314 goals against average, and the save percentage 891 here. Like I say, not bad for a rookie goalie here. I mean, Carl Stankowski, he's 10-9. He's okay when he's coming in relief. 376 goals against average and 80 save percentage here. But I have to say, this Calgary Hitmen team has been, I mean, it wasn't until, after like the 10-game mark that Calgary picked up their first win here. And we've definitely had a very strong, second half and get us into the playoffs here. So now let's look at the standings here. Let's look at the Eastern Conference here. So right now, as of this recording, for the Central Division, the Edmonton Oil Kings are first place. After 63 games, they have 82 points. Second place, Lethbridge Hurricanes. After 64 games played, they have 82 points. And the Calgary Hitmen, after 64 games, they're 36, 22, 5-1 with 78 points. All three teams in the Central Division have clinched the playoff spot here. So if you go to East Division here, well, no surprise, the Prince Albert Raiders 106 points in 64 games. They're in the playoffs, and I think they've all but clinched the league champion, regular season champion. Not yet, but they're on the verge of doing that. Second place, the Saskatoon Blades, in 64 games, have 92 points. They're in. And then in third place, Moose Jaw Warriors, they just need to pick up a point here because they have not clinched yet, but they have 78 points in 62 games. So, and when it comes to the wild card, Eastern Conference here, Medicine Hat has the first wild card right now. They're 70 points in 63 games. And then the Red Deer Rebels, they're on the final spot right now. In 62 games, they have 68 points. And then the Brandon Wheat Kings are outside looking in. They have 63 games played, and they're 68 points. And that's where the line's cut off. If you're below Brandon, you're definitely not going to make the playoffs. You're mathematically eliminated, actually. So this could potentially set up a Calgary-Lethbridge playoff series with Lethbridge hosting it. The good old Wranglers. And going back to the Corral series there. So let's look at the Western Conference here, shall we? And who's clinched and who's on the verge of clinching here. So in the U.S. division, the Everett Silvertips are in and have clinched the division. In 63 games, they have 94 points. Second place, Portland Winterhawks, they've clinched. They have 63 points in 82 games. And then the Spokane Chiefs, they've clinched. In 62 games, they have 77 points there. So if you go to the BC division, the Vancouver Giants, they've clinched their division and obviously clinched the playoff spot. They have 94 points in 63 games. Second place, the Victoria Royals. In 63 games, they have 70 points and they've clinched. And then third place, you got the Kelowna Rockets. They have not clinched yet because this is definitely where things tail off here. In 63 games, they have 60 points there. So the BC division is not as strong here. If you go to the wild card here, the first wild card, well, the Tri-City Americans are actually clinched the playoff spot here. And they have 63 games. They got 72 games. And then the second wild card is occupied by the Seattle Thunderbirds. They have 62 games played. They have 60 points here. And And then the team below them is the Kootenay Ice Blazers. They have 53 points, 62 games here. So likely Seattle and Kelowna are going to get the final two spots in the Western Conference here. And what would be set up here, I mean, well, pretty much I'm confident to say that Portland will host Spokane. And then I'm going to probably still say, yeah, that's pretty much the only series we could say is for sure here. And out east, the only series I could say for sure is going to be Saskatoon Blades hosting the Moose Jaw Warriors here. So we're going to still need one more episode here to look at who's going to be playing who and who's in and who's out here. And what I plan to do for playoffs here is that, well, there'll be one more episode of my Calgary Hitmen at 4 here. And I've decided I'm going to do the same thing for the Calgary Flames series. But what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to do a first round playoff preview. Then I'm going to recap the first round, however far it goes, and then I'll just keep going on until hopefully win the championship. But we can dream. So that's all I'll do. So anyway, looking ahead for the Calgary Hitmen here for the last 4 games of the regular season before the playoffs that we're in here. Fittingly here, there's going to be lots of Oil Kings and Hurricanes. Very fitting because I'm pretty sure that's who Calgary's going to draw in the first round here. Either if we stay in second or third, maybe move up to second or third, we'll likely play Lethbridge, either who hosts the ice. There's still a chance that maybe, just maybe, we'll host the win the division and maybe move Edmonton down, or maybe who knows. It's still a possibility, but I think we're likely either going to play Lethbridge or Edmonton in the first round here. But so looking ahead here, game 65, Friday, March 8th. This is actually the one game, one tree. If you buy, for every ticket they buy, one tree is going to be planted here. So it's definitely an interesting initiative that the Calgary Hitmen have. We'll be hosting the Edmonton Oil Kings at the Scotiabank Saddledome. 7 p.m. puck drop, and then game 66 will be on Saturday, March the 9th. The Calgary Hitmen go down the number 2 there and then make a left turn on the number 3, the Crow's Nest Highway, to take on the Lethbridge Hurricanes at the MX Center at 7 p.m. puck drop. And then the final 2 games on game 67 will be on Saturday, March the 16th. The Calgary Hitmen will be up the QE2 to Edmonton at the Rogers Place to take on the Oil Kings, 2 p.m. puck drop there. And then game 68 to wrap up the 2018-19 regular season, just like how the home portion started. We'll be taking on the Edmonton Oil Kings at the Scotiabank Saddledome. That's a 2 p.m. puck drop to wrap up the 2018-19 regular season there. So that will encompass episode 13 there, and maybe we'll have a better idea who's going to be in and who we're playing, and I can maybe preview my preview for the first round matchup there. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and as we can say here for the Calgary Hitmen, we can get the Hitmen playoff train going here, and I'm excited to see how this second half surge that the Calgary Hitmen has had to possibly, maybe get out of the first round, maybe in the second round here, because my fear going down the stretch there was playing the Prince Edward Raiders there, but if we likely stay in the Central Division there, we won't draw the Prince Edward Raiders till we get to the third round there, and then we'll say it'd be a nice run here, because I said the WHL playoff format is similar to the NHL format, where you got the top 3 in each division making the playoffs, and then they have 2 wild cards afterwards for each conference there, and then it's the second and third place they play each other, and then you got the best wild card taking on the second wild card, and the next best division takes in the first wild card there. So obviously go to hitmanhockey.com or WHL.ca and break down yourself on how the playoff format works, and same with NHL.com for the NHL playoff races. So as I always say, I'll see you in the next video here, and you know what? We're in the playoffs. That's all we can tell you right now. So thank you.